Welcome to the section 3, where we are going to talk about the geography of learning. First time when I heard about this title, three things come to my mind. Of course, geography, knowledge, and learning system. And as an indigenous person, I'm a Dayak Pompang from West Kalimantan. If you heard about the Dayak in Borneo, I'm one of them. As an indigenous person and also as a person working with indigenous organization, my mind started thinking about indigenous knowledge and how it's related to the geography. As accumulation of collective learning and experience that have been continuously tasted and improved by experimentations, diversification, and transformation through generation, which come with various forms of knowledge, philosophy, spirituality, history, literature, performance art, medicine, food, integrated indigenous natural resources management system, customary laws, the art of war, and know-how technology. It is all tightly connected with land and territories for indigenous communities. Our knowledge and learning system strongly related to our territories, forests, our landscape, even the sea. Indigenous communities, for example, like in Toraja, South Sulawesi, or in Seko, also South Sulawesi, have different cultural knowledge systems with the Dayak, like mine, in more lowland areas or who live in riverbank areas. Or totally different culture and knowledge system with people in Bajo people in North Sulawesi who live on the water and really much rely on their livelihood from the sources on the sea. So indigenous communities form and develop their cultural territorial knowledge from generation to generation based on the land and territories where they live. Forest for us is source of everything. For indigenous peoples, it is a connection to the spirit of our ancestors that continuously guides our way through millennia. Food and water for our generation and next to come. Shelters for our peoples, medicine for those who seek, cultural defense in the dynamic and changing world, a dignity and identity in the crisis of value that makes us proud to be indigenous. It is our home and the home of all living beings. So forests have a very strong connection with indigenous peoples. So I'm a Dayak, as I mentioned already, I'm a Dayak Pompang from West Kalimantan. In 76, the government start planting oil palm plantation in our districts, and it covers huge areas. 15 years later, our territory already gone, replaced by oil palm plantations. Oil palm plantation is monoculture tree plantation, and other trees cannot grow next to these plantations. So we experience losing our forests, our livelihood from that. I remember when I was kids, I used to play in the forest or play in the riverbank behind my parents' house, play canoe with my brothers, picking mushrooms, vegetables from the forest, fruits, climbing trees. It's really a lot of memories and things that I really remember that time, but now it's all gone. What I'm trying to say is that land and territories are really related with our knowledge system. And if we lose our land, territories, we lose our identity, we lose our system, collective system in the community. So for us, protecting land and territories is meaning also protecting our knowledge, our livelihood, our collective system together. And I, while there's an interesting fact actually, in one of indigenous communities in West Kalimantan, the Ibanik in Kapuas Hulu district, these communities still live in the longhouse and strongly attached with their territory. They managed to protect about 9,000 hectares of their territory intact. Uh, since 1980s, they've been fighting with oil palm plantations, illegal logging, mining, gold mining companies. And they still manage to protect these territories. And they're really attached with these territories. But they are also, what interesting thing is that actually they are divided by state border. So Malaysia and Indonesia. So the Ibanik in West Kalimantan, in this Kapuas Hulu, actually, some part of them is of the territory is in Indonesia and other is in Malaysia. But until now, actually, they are still maintain contact each other with their families, and still practicing their cultural activities together. And that is really interesting because it's come to conclusion for me actually that if indigenous people still own their territories and still can access the forest where their livelihood is much different than that, it will also keep their traditional and knowledge system. And that's why these territories are really important for us. Another things that I think is really important to see. One, if you see a woman, like indigenous woman, doing their weaving, I always, how do you say? I could not say anything when I saw like an indigenous woman sitting all day doing weaving and put all the string one by one, make the colors, and then few months later it's come out. The result is beautiful, difficult pattern in a piece of weaving. It's and many times, like in Sumba, for example, in east part of Indonesia, they tell stories from this weaving, the pattern, what happened in daily life. They can manage to put it in the weaving. I couldn't imagine how the brain works. They did not do any, preparation. It's all in the head, and they just do it. How these things how this connect with the territories? I think this is really important and very interesting discussions today. We will have some speakers talk about different form of traditional of knowledge system based on where we are and what kind of tools that we are going to we use, and how it is used to support social justice movement. So I think I'm gonna stop for now and let the speakers start to do their things. Thank you.